Welcome to Plant-Based Chat this week. So, in addition to me being in a sauna, it is very humid and hot where I am. So if you notice me kind of melting, don't worry, it'll be okay, right? It's just the beginning. And I'm talking today with my friend Ellen Canner, who is in Miami, who knows what this hot humidity is like and lives with it way more than I do. We met in IACP, which is the International Association of Culinary Professionals. Can you believe I went to something that was that fancy? But I was there and I met cool people, and Ellen was one of them. And I think, Ellen, we hung out with Jill Newsonow together as well. And you guys know her. Ellen lives in Miami again, so she does lots of great multicultural blendings of flavors and foods. All vegan recipes, of course, which is awesome. Apple's here, yay, Apple. And she says, hello, Kathy, Ellen, and everyone. And you guys, I would love to know if you are melty where you are, so, and where you're kind of watching from. Okay, so Ellen is awesome. We were just talking, because you know I'm a Taurus. My stubborn, crazy, inventive ways, and she is a Capricorn, and you can look beside her and see all of that stuff perfectly organized. You never see that if that's me cooking. So Ellen, I'm gonna let you finish introducing yourself and talk a little bit about what you're making today. And I know you have your cookbook that everyone should have in your hand.
Well, hey everybody, I am so excited to be here. And yes, I am author of the award-winning book, Feeding the Hungry Ghost, Life, Faith, and What to Eat for Dinner. I am contributor to outlets including, oh, here comes my dog. That's not the outlet. Huffington Post, Civil Eats, Veg News, Edible South Florida, and others. Oh, and I have a story in The Chocolate Professor, which is a zine on vegan milk chocolate, so check it out.
So when are you sending me this vegan milk chocolate? That's the most important part of this interview.
Well, honey, you and me both, we can't even get it here because it would be cocoa by the time it reaches us. It is a little on the sweltery side here, but I kind of love Miami for that. And I do love it for all its cultural fusion. It's bright, it's tropical, it's hot, it's fun.
It's true. Well, and we were talking too, I know a lot of you guys already know, I lived in New Orleans for like 12 years before I moved here. And now I've been here 17 years. I don't know how that, it's like 12 years in New Orleans went really slow, and then this is going, and actually I just put something, let's see, one anti-venom, love that, and anti is spelled like anti-May. That is the coolest name ever, and I see two people. I'll just say they are watching from New Orleans during their lunch break, which is awesome. So tell us a little more about what's in your book. Like pick some of your favorite recipes and entice us.
Oh, okay. Well, I had designed the book to be, it's also stories, so you could read it on the couch or you can read it in the kitchen. And they're recipes to take you through a calendar year. So now we are coming into some hot stuff. I'm trying to think what my favorite recipes are. You know, you mentioned New Orleans. I have a green gumbo that I love to make around Mardi Gras. And I guess I really do gravitate to flavors where you're gonna really get to meet the heat. Like I love Moroccan flavors. I have a vegetable tagine in there, and I have a very simple rice dish you can do that I tried when I was in the Sahara, and it was like, there's nothing here. What are we possibly going to eat? And It was just, yeah. I like to show people you can do a lot with a little, and you can do so much with vegetables.
I love that, just to pull out, you can do a lot with a little. And I want to make sure everybody's hearing that, because I think right now, you know, with groceries going up and things becoming more expensive, that we've got to think about how to use some of those other little pieces. And I know that like I have a kale stem pesto. I have a kale stem creamy sauce because Cheryl won't eat the kale stems. Um, I have in my back pocket that said I was going to make in a class a long time ago and I didn't. Is I want to make potato peel bacon.
I would be interested in seeing that.
I'm crazy enough. I'm thinking because I was cooking a baked potato and cleaning it off that way, and I was thinking I have all this potato skin trash, and I was like, oh, it could be crispy and smoky, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so I'm always the weirdo trying to do something crazy, and I get a little obsessive, perhaps a lot obsessive. Which is one of the reasons these things can happen. But I can't imagine trying to cook in the Sahara either. So hats off to you on that one for sure. And I know you were really excited when we were looking at picking dates. You really wanted to do Cinco de Mayo or somewhere around in there. So tell me about your love for the holiday or the food.
Well, Cinco de Mayo historically is Mexico's defeat over France at the Battle of Puebla. No one remembers that. But we do love Mexican culture and Mexican food, and I have at least one goodie I'm going to be able to share with you. I taught in Mexico a couple years ago, and I wanted to create something for them really special. So I have this recipe that we're going to share today. Mexican chocolate love bites. Everybody loves chocolate, right? But Mexican chocolate is really something special. It's got different notes. There's cinnamon, and it's not sweet. We're going to be using dates for that. Also a little chili. And because I'm me, every ingredient in this recipe, which you can call an energy ball, which you can call dessert, which you can call anything you like, is designed to boost your love life. That's why there are love bites.
I love that name though, Love Bites. It's almost love bug season, I think, too. So from living in the South, it makes me think of love bugs. If you guys don't know what that is, just don't look it up. But you don't need, it's not super gross or anything, but they just kind of swarm. But love bite sounds delicious. Now, I would love to know, of all kinds, right? Love nibbles from my puppy. What were you thinking? So when you talk about first we're saying Mexican chocolate, and are you talking about the chocolate in the rounds that you can get at the Hispanic markets where I live? I'm thinking in Miami, and actually even our grocery stores almost all of them have a Hispanic section where you can get masa, you can get dried chilies and things like that. And Walmart, you can get dried chilies in Walmart, so that means they're everywhere.
Hallelujah. You can use one of those discs, but I'm going to create it with cocoa and cacao nibs.
Nice.
Shall we do this?
I think we should do this. I have one more question for you, and I am known for interrupting as we go along. So if there's a question or something besides hi, I will ask it for you as well. I'm putting these up on the screen just to not disturb you every 3 seconds. The other thing is, so you're going to put chili in, so I would love for you to tell me some about the chili powder that you're using, how you chose that one, and then I'm probably going to ask you about some substitutes that I was thinking of. So I'm going to put you on full screen, so you are the center of our chat now.
Well, thank you.
Ooh, I was able to do it.
It's really my ingredients I want to spotlight. This chili, you caught me out. I'm trying to think.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I wasn't trying to do that.
I don't know if you can see, I keep all my spices behind me. And it is labeled and you can smell it's chili. I
I'm
can't
wondering if
even.
it's, and I'm probably going to say this improperly, so everyone is welcome to correct me because everyone tells me a different way to say it. Is it guajillo?
That is actually a kind of mild chili guajillo. It's wonderful.
You
This
are
is,
using spicy.
I'm using spicy, but I want everyone to love Mexican chocolate love bites. So if you are of a milder person, guajillo or ancho would be lovely.
And
And
ancho
if
is
you
my favorite chili for
really,
everything.
and if you hate chili, you can leave it out. The world will continue to turn.
I think if you hate chili, now there are some people who are allergic to nightshades. So I give you an exemption. Those of you who just don't like chilies and have just kind of been bit by the heat in the past, I encourage you to try a guajillo or an ancho or something like that. While they can be slightly spicy sometimes, especially anchos, some batches vary that I've gotten. It's such a fruity, interesting, dark flavor, and I actually add it to my beefy bouillon and some other things. So that's my pep talk for those of you who have been scared to try chilies. And I will leave it to you. I'm going to put myself on mute while they're using the blowers on the yard across the street.
Okay. Um, the idea behind this isn't that it's going to give you a chilly blast. It's just going to give you a gentle warmth. Okay. And Kathy, you may need to mute me in a minute because we're starting with raw almonds that I'm going to grind in the food processor. And everyone is so nice who's watching. I don't want to blast your ears. So, Kathy, you can either make some scintillating conversation or everyone can sing a favorite song for about a minute.
Okay, I'm muting you and we're good. So let me tell you guys how I make homemade chili powder while she's doing this. So I go to wherever I'm getting those chilies, and like I said, you can get them at Walmart. I love to go to my local Hispanic markets because they're so much fresher and they're so cheap. Same with tomatillos, cilantro, and beans. It's amazing. Just cut the top off. Use scissors. I use my kitchen scissors, which are scissors you can lick. Then take out the seeds and the ribs. Toast them, or I put them in the dehydrator overnight, grind them in a spice grinder, and now you have probably $30 worth of chili powder for $3. All you now.
Okay, just checking. I've got the almonds ground pretty fine. And now I have some medjool dates. They are the ooeyest, gooeyest of the dates. And let's see, I think it's about a cup of almonds and a cup of the medjools.
And the recipe link is down below if you're watching on YouTube, which I think most of you are right now. So there's also a link down there to the recipe on Ellen's site too. So make sure you save that.
Yay! Okay, I have a quarter cup of cocoa, unsweetened. And the one ingredient you might have trouble finding are cacao nibs. I'm going to see if I can bring them close so you can see. They are toasted ground cocoa beans. They're very pure. The one thing about this that makes me sad is like, I would love you guys to smell and taste these things. It smells so.
I smell a lot when I cook too. And so a little tip about the cacao nibs. So if you usually can find them like in a health store, Whole Foods, but my secret place to get them is TJ Maxx and Home Goods. They have a lot of those kind of like matcha green tea, lots of maca, different powders and stuff like that. And so Drew is asking, were those whole raw almonds not blanched, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great.
All right, so we got cacao, we've got cocoa nibs, we've got almonds and dates. We have a little bit of vanilla. We have a little bit of cinnamon. we have a little, and I do mean a little bit about a chili. Out, out.
Would you call that about a quarter teaspoon-ish? Okay.
Yes.
And my suggestion for those of you who are adventuring into the world of spicy, put half the amount that you think you want, mix it together, taste it, and then you can always add more. But you
Yep, can't add less.
exactly, you can't take it out once it's there.
And I add a little coffee that lifts the senses. I'm trying to think. Almonds are a classic fertility nut. Let's see, what else we got? Chili is also good for the senses. Cinnamon is fantastic for circulation, and also I've seen cinnamon trees. If you harvest the bark correctly, it will regrow on the tree. So you know it's going to do something fantastic for you. I am going to give this, oh, I want to show you my vanilla because it's funky looking. I make my own. I have a bunch of vanilla beans in here. I hope this doesn't scare anyone. And you can macerate them in the booze of your choice, basically. Rum, bourbon, vodka. I would only use one of them. This is rum because we get great.
I'm laughing like when I would only use one of them, and I'm like, vanilla, Long Island iced tea brand, right? If anybody remembers what those are, that was a drink you really shouldn't be drinking from the 80s. It's all the white liqueurs. But what do you tend to lean towards for your liquor of choice for this?
I like rum. We get some very nice rums here because we've got the whole Caribbean cross connection. But whatever moves you. Vodka, of course, will take the flavor very well. I like a little bit of rummy undertone, though. So if you can get some vanilla beans, and if you can get them cheap because they are god-awfully expensive, stock up and try different ones. And cheap, which is what I am, is one of the reasons I like to make my own. You probably know that vanilla is right up there with saffron in terms of sky-high price spices.
Well, and it's been hasn't it been the 5 or 6 years that vanilla has actually increased quite more than usual. There is, and I will try and find it for everyone, there's actually a Facebook group that's like, there's some sort of spice seller, but they import in vanilla beans, and if you go through the club, you can buy more and get a discount. And yeah, I can't remember, it was some obsession I was on. But I will share it with all of you, especially you, Ellen.
All right. All you need to do here, and I'll save you your ears, is blitz these, and then you're done, kind of. What works best before you roll them into balls is if you pop them in the fridge and let them chill for at least an hour, or what I did was I made half a batch yesterday and threw them in the fridge, and I took them out just before we started. So here is what they look like naked. Naked is good. And you can certainly leave them this way or roll them in cocoa or chopped nuts. I like to use little powdered sugar and cinnamon just to sort of bring up the sweetness. Also, because it is hot and humid, it keeps them from sticking.
Yeah, I was going to say with the cocoa powder, I've noticed before, because sometimes if it's humid enough, it'll get absorbed again, and you'll look and you're like, wait.
I know I did this, right?
And I guess it's the cornstarch in the powdered sugar that's helping it stay.
I made a bunch of these for an event that was outside, and yeah, I was having to refresh them occasionally.
Let me see if I can find this, and yes, I do have it. You've probably seen this before. I'll go back to our double view for just a second. It's like a powdered sugar fairy wand. You put the powdered sugar in and you go, so in case
So,
anyone was interested in that but me.
no, I love it. And all you have to do is once you get the stuff right out of the food processor and it's chilled, roll it into a ball, drop it in whatever you want to coat it with, and you're done. And
They're
they're really good.
beautiful.
And there's a little extra. The almonds exude a little bit of oil, right? So you get a spa treatment too. Your hands become very soft as you roll them out. Free.
Ah, I like that. I always like the free stuff.
Me too.
Sherry Jones says that, and this is to you personally, I highly encourage you to try, I think it's Barhi dates, Barhi. They put medjool in the shade and are literally like caramel. I ordered them directly from the grower, and now that's the only dates I eat.
Are those from California?
I'll see if Sherry answers.
Okay.
I'm of the cheap version, so a lot of times I will not even get medjool. I'll get the ones that are not as nice and soak them to use them.
As long as they're moist and sweet, you're good to go.
Ooh, Kathy has a great idea. I need one of those to sprinkle turmeric on.
That's a very good idea. I've been talking up turmeric to everyone. I love it. And a friend of mine said, I didn't realize you only need a little. So he was flinging it around on everything.
Oh, and I misunderstood. Kathy was actually saying about my magic wand. She needs this for turmeric instead of powdered sugar to put on the cauliflower while she's roasting it. My little powdered sugar magic wand from OXO. It's a crazy thing that they think up sometimes. Those are beautiful.
Let me see if I can bring them back without dropping them.
Oh.
And they're delicious. They'll pick you up in the middle of the day. My husband, I give them to him, and after a slow afternoon, it's a great way to energize. And if it helps our love life, all the better.
I bet he loves it. And
So do I.
one of my dearest community members, Joanne Lakes, is here. So she's been having a lot of going back and forth lately. So I wanted to spotlight you that you made it here. And Sherry said yes, from the Coachella Valley is where she's getting those dates.
I had them once, someone brought them back, and yes, they are incredible.
And that sounds like magic. Sometimes you can get the medjool dates also at TJ Maxx and Home Goods.
Wow. I need to get out more.
Allow me to be obsessive for you, and I'll share that information and you share recipes. Do you feel like making us another recipe? Are you in the zone?
I am, and I love Mexican chocolate love bites, but I am always trying to get people to eat more beans, more greens, and we're going to be able to do that. I am going to make a recipe I call fireworks black bean and mango salad. It is just starting to be mango season here. And these are courtesy of my neighbor. There are over 100 mango cultivars. I think these, they all, so fragrant, wonderful. I think these are Tommy Atkins, but I'm not a pro, so I don't know for sure.
I was just going to say they look like the ones that I have ripening up, but I don't know what kind they are either. I just know there's the little super sweet yellow ones and the bigger ones. So I'm just like a mango noob.
There's a wonderful world to explore. You can, if you aren't in Miami, you can get mango frozen. You can also substitute, because we like to use what we have, papaya or orange. Both of these love black beans. And I created this recipe a couple of years ago for 4th of July when we could all gather. and I was supposed to go over to a friend's house. I was very excited, and she called me that day and said, "Oh, you're vegan still?" Yep, yep. And she said, "Do you think you could bring something? Because we were just going to barbecue." And again, I believe in using what I have. I certainly wasn't going to rush to the store. So I had made some black beans. I wonder if you can see. I think they look all jeweled and pretty.
Ooh, yum.
But I, but I knew this was going to be an outdoor thing and hot. And I wanted, I want vegetables to be done right. I wanted them to be as exciting for everybody as they are to me. So I'm going to have to take everyone out of here. Excuse me. So I had this idea, again, using what I had, to make something look like fireworks. I've got my black beans, and I've got a pretty red pepper, which I've chopped up. And this is barely a recipe, people. This was a desperation move.
But see, I love this because one of the things that we've been talking about just in general is how we're all not having maybe all the energy we had before. I suspect you have more energy than me on an average day, but maybe even you noticed a little, not so high. And some days you're just like, can I just have popcorn or something? Like, can dinner magically appear? And I did a class on what to do with a can of beans because not that you can't cook your beans, but and this would also be perfect for that, for a day that you're just like, I don't want to go to the store. I don't want to do a lot. I think it's brilliant. That's all I'm saying.
Canned is great. I especially like to have canned beans during hurricane season because while I often make dry beans from scratch, if you don't have power, that's not going to be happening for you. So, yes,
Indeed.
Dry, canned, any way you can do them. I have some celery, which I love for crunch, and I meant to take my pretty celery out. Don't be afraid of using the celery leaves, of chopping them up. They are where the essence of celery is. It's so good. They're so brightly flavored. No.
I just planted some cutting celery, which is just for using the leaves and the things. So I can't wait to make this recipe with it.
Back to chili. I have jalapeno in here. And the idea is for everything to be roughly the same size. And no, that's not you. Oh, here's my mango. And I knew I had some pepitas. Toasted pumpkin seeds. And I have some spice. So, oh gosh, everything is hidden. Just a little bit of cumin. And you mix that all together with some cilantro.
I love cilantro.
I do too, and I know there's some people who really, really don't, and I'm sorry. You can sub parsley, you can leave it out entirely, and a pinch of sea salt. That's really all this needs. And without even doing a lot of work, you can see it's very pretty. And it's sturdy too. So if you do have a hot and humid day, you can leave this out. And no, it won't. You might wilt, but it won't.
I like that. That should be a slogan of a book. You might wilt, but these recipes won't.
And
Oh, so pretty.
I like to put them on greens. I think it lightens the dish some. And maybe someone will get a piece of spinach she wasn't planning on, and so a little extra goodness.
Is that not gorgeous, you guys? That is
And
beautiful.
saw how easy it is. The dressing comes such as it is, it's also naked, from the juice of the mango and the lime. And it's plenty moist and it's plenty delicious.
I think that's amazing. I am going to answer Kat. I think the OXO wand, she was asking, is it called an OXO magic wand? And it is not. That is my Kathy spin on it. But it is a dusting wand. So it does have wand in there, even though I took some liberties. I'm going to ask you, how do you choose to cut your mangoes? Do you use any tools? And I'm not going to make you do it now, so don't.
I knew it. I knew it. I'm ready. I stand ready.
I always get so nervous about cutting mangoes on camera because I'm not good at it, even though I cut it on one side and the other, and then I do the little scoring. I always score through the skin. Always. I also always oversteam my broccoli. So if there are two things that you want to know about me, those are two big negatives. Lydia says it looks so good, and it does. And
super high protein. It's wonderful for us, and it is pretty because, as you know, we like pretty.
We do, and Joanne is saying it's getting warm here. She lives in Florida, in Sarasota, so something that doesn't wilt is fantastic. So I think this is something, it's great that we can make it tomorrow with these wonderful Mexican touches, but it's also amazing that we can eat it all summer long. Both of these would be great things to have on hand. I could see your love bites being like, it's 3 o'clock and you're like, I can't get off the couch, or I have to turn on the air conditioner if you're stubborn like me. And then having the salad prepped in advance. So I would do all the black bean stuff just like you did, and have lettuce separately. And then you just have it walk to the fridge and you have lunch every day. It's magical.
And if you like tortillas, this would be a great.
That's a great idea too. And Queen Goddess says that she loves cutting mango. So I'm going to let you get to the mango cutting now.
Okay, so I will take recommendations. The way I like to do it is cut it in fourths.
Oh, you do it completely different than I do. This is awesome. In fourths.
And then, if it works right, and I'm hoping it does, you can strip the skin away.
That was a big gay gasp, everybody. Just in case you weren't sure exactly what that was. My wife keeps running up the stairs going, "You're gay gasping. What are you watching on TV?" So I must be doing it more. That's awesome.
So then, yeah, you don't have to worry about any skin. You do have to worry about juice. You can see this is a particularly moist specimen and a little bit hairy. That's okay. That's part of the magic. And can you see this?
Yeah, we can see it good.
You can just cut straight down.
Yeah, and I like the way once it was getting a little extra slippery, and there was a straight side, she put it down.
Yeah.
Why am I telling you that? Perhaps I have gone to urgent care because I've cut myself with a knife before. But usually it's after when I'm washing. I'm bad. I wash a knife and I cut myself. And I'm like, thank you.
This bit, which there's a big hairy pit in the middle, I don't think I can do it on camera because it would go down my dress and I would just...
You save it.
Ripping on the floor and the dog loves it. You can sort of suck it like a lollipop. And in fact, that's really what people used to do. Now that my hands are, oh yes, I'm going to be very popular with my dog.
I love that. And thank you for, just impromptu cutting up a mango, which is that's a big ask. And so I appreciate you doing that because it's so awesome to get to learn from everyone. I mean, that's kind of, and I'll put us both in together now, that's kind of what this whole plant-based chat is about. Like, I get to introduce cool people, my friends, to my audience, but then we always learn things from each other when we get together, vegan cookbook authors. Like, we are notorious for that. So I just can't thank you enough, and everything looks so yummy. I'm just mad that I'm not in Miami. If I was in
I know,
Miami, I would be having lunch with you.
truly. Okay, so while we're talking tropical fruit,
Hmm.
I'm going to remember. I'm going to remember one thing, and I'm going to tell you another. Um, Avocado, which we love and which we will be making our guacamoles tomorrow, I am sure, along with our tequila drinks, um, is actually a fruit, botanically speaking. And since we grow them here, we do not grow the beautiful little Haas that everyone loves, which are nice and
Big
fatty.
ones.
We have the big green guys.
Like that big?
Some of them, yeah.
I've seen some that were that big. Okay, now we go to Orlando. Perhaps we'll have to keep driving because Cheryl's parents live in Orlando.
Well, I know you guys have seen cooking shows where the chef has his knife and he goes whack and turns and takes the pit out. I think that's unnecessarily violent. You could really just gently dig the pit out, and you don't hurt your knife, you don't hurt the avocado. Just a suggestion.
I do like that, and some of the smaller ones, I learned this trick from someone else, probably on TikTok. If you just squeeze it a little bit, it pops out, and I was like, I never thought to try that before. So you have another tropical fruit tip for us.
Actually, it is a green tip. I have a class I'm teaching. It's free and virtual through Miami-Dade Public Library. We love them. I think every library is a great community resource, and ours is particularly. I have the spinach and arugula under the salad because, as I say, if you just eat one little leaf, it will make me happy. And my class is Green Greatness, 3 yummy ways to get your greens. And you will see they are versatile, they play well with others. Again, they're very easy recipes like this you can use and just get a little goodness into you. I think it was the USDA just came out with a study about foods that can improve your mood and decrease risk of dementia. We do not want to be demented. Greens are right up there. So you can do yourself some good, have a very easy dinner, and sign up for my class.
I love that. And you definitely should take the class. And I'm a huge supporter of libraries. And I do stuff in my local libraries as well. And it's so awesome. And actually, Ellen, if you wouldn't mind either emailing that link to me and I'll put it up on YouTube, or putting it up on YouTube as a comment under this so everybody can find it really easily. And I'll go all the other little places that we're broadcasting. I won't make you do that. Because I'm kind of on a dehydrator thing. And we did my first dehydrator class. So I have a couple of people in my community that are like dehydrator goddesses. Like they've been dehydrating for 30 years. But so I made a bunch of powders. And one thing I didn't make that I am thinking very much of making is making like green powder. Because you can go and buy green powder for $30, right?
Right.
And let me bring this. I went to the farmer's market. This is 2 bunches of kale. They're huge. One red, one not. So I'm either going to make chips with one. These were $5 for total. This is $5 worth of kale. I tell you what, if I dehydrated it all and put it in my smoothies, that's $5 for a jar. So also, if your kale's kind of just looking a little limp,
Tired? Yeah.
yeah, you could go ahead and dehydrate it, or like you might be able to put it in some water and let it soak some things up, depending on where it is on the tired spectrum. But so what all are you doing in your class? Do you know already?
Okay, this is something I made for a class many years ago. I first called it green dip, which was not a very pretty name for it. And it was so good, people were like dipping into the food processor. Oh, do you have any left?
That's right.
So I call it green goodness, or sometimes when I'm feeling really uppity, green greatness. That's a starter. You can You can use it as a sandwich filling. It's great with vegetables. It's great on like bruschetta if you want to get very fancy. And let's see, what else am I doing? I think I'm doing this because this is not how people think of greens, but there's a whole bunch in here. And it's the start of our mango season, so that'll be good for locals. And I'm also going to do a pasta dish at the end because greens just sort of happily wilt into pasta or any, hot beans or hot whole grains, and you don't have to work. I don't want people to struggle. I want it to be delicious and easy.
I love that. And I think we do have to tempt people into greens a little bit. Like Cheryl was like, no, and now she asks for them, and now she'll eat some raw. Whereas before, but like I think if you're working with either some young picky eaters or old picky eaters, which are much harder to deal with because you can't just say, because I said so. But like with Cheryl, the first thing I did is I started mincing up kale like parsley, and I would sprinkle it on everything so she could kind of get used to that flavor. Most people, you don't have to start at that thing, but if you have a 6-year-old, you might.
Or a 60-plus-year-old. My father never, ever liked vegetables. He did like dessert. So I would, put a couple leaves in a smoothie for him. But I just remember it was their anniversary. We had gone out and like the special omelet, because my father was so far from vegan, was spinach and mushroom. And I'm thinking, well, fantastic, because what benevolent, not intrusive vegetables these are. And he said, could you leave the spinach and mushrooms out of it? I couldn't help it. I loved him. I said, Dad, just eat a vegetable. I'm staying into it. And I don't want to shame anybody, but I do want to encourage. I always think it's better to coax, to tempt, rather than to scold. Except I did it with my dad once.
Oh, I can totally understand that. Like, I don't want to food shame anyone. However, I am invested in you trying something new. And so I have literally been at a cookbook signing at a local bookstore. I'm the only vegan. There's like barbecue and pies and stews, and like Nancy McDermott and Sandra Gutierrez was there, people you know. And I have cauliflower queso for them to taste. And people, and I'm like, try it. If you don't like it, you can spit it out in my hand. And people who know me, I'm like super germophobic. And I just like, there's a reason I didn't want to have children. And, and so for me to say that means I'm really confident. But I'm not trying to bully. Like, if they didn't like it, it's okay. But you tried it. I think a lot of times people make these preconceived notions. Like, I have a real thing personally about assumptions. Everybody didn't get to see The Odd Couple. They don't know the assumption and the board thing. It makes an ass out of you and me almost all the time. Like people will go, oh, kale is bitter. Well, not if you make it right. Or tofu is bland. Well, so are lots of things. That's why you flavor them, right? So like, I find it very odd. And so Joanne says that she loves your kitchen towels a lot. And that she should remember it, keep calm and carry on. I'm adopting it as my slogan for the month. She has a lot of family stuff she's taking care of. But I feel like I need it just because the world is crazy. And Sherry says is thanking us for a great show. I realized I didn't scroll down, so this is all my fault that we're doing this really fast. Paper Finesse is saying throw the avocado pit in a green smoothie. And the Vitamix will make it smooth. I've seen that in Vitamix demos, and I think about it every time I have the pit in my hand, but I don't know how long they keep. Do you?
I bet you could freeze them.
And I see you have something else you're going to tell us about.
No, I was just playing with my food. But avocado, since you mention it, and because I love free spa treatments, if you're comfortable with yourself or whoever you're with, on your face, in your hands, in your hair. It is a great natural moisturizer. So you look a little like an extra in a zombie flick for a minute. Then you wash it off and you're just like, oh, my hands are so soft. And I know if you're like me, you are like me, you're in the kitchen all the time. Um, why not have a spa treatment?
I agree. And when I get an avocado that I waited too long, or like I got some avocados last week and I hid it behind something evidently, and I'm like, oh, some of these got to go in the fridge so I can stretch this out a little bit. But like if I get one that's just too far gone, that's what I do. So I'm like, I would pay more than $1 or $2 to get a face mask somewhere. So think of it that way. I like that. And Paper Finesse says they use their avocado pits right away. So, and let's see, people are chatty now. Welcome everybody. Diane says greens are easy to hydrate. Another way to enjoy greens is and to add them to smoothies and soups, etc. And there's nothing wrong with using them fresh either. So I'm not trying to get you not to do that. However, this is a lot of kale, and probably either making chips or dehydrating some of that's going to save the nutrients in there and let me use them a different way. And also, I'm seeing a lot of especially specialty foods going way up, right? You know, like maca or, you know, magic green powder. Well, I can get some magic greens probably. If I wanted to do enough for all summer, I probably could pay $20 and get enough greens. I've got beet greens that came with my beets for free, right?
Make your own magic, people.
Exactly. I love that. And Paper Finesse is saying they don't like the texture of green smoothies, and half an avocado makes it smooth. And I can see that. Also, oats can be a help to that. I usually throw a handful of rolled oats, so it kind of makes oat milk or oat cream while it's doing it, but I don't bother to strain it.
I'm also a texture person, so yeah. Then you get the little good bits at the bottom.
That's true too, absolutely. And I think Paper Finesse is Joyce. I always use gender neutral terms until I know what's going on. And usually I remember, but if I ever misgender anyone, please let me know. Okay, it's very important to me. And Joanne loves avocados and smoothies too. And I just think I love avocado toast because coming from North Carolina, that's a new thing to me. Like I have a friend, Denise Vivaldo, that's what she grew up on. She's older than me, and that's just what they had when avocados were there as a lazy, you need to eat something. Whereas now it's super fancy.
Apparently it took an Aussie to figure out, you got avocado, you got toast. Brilliant. But I'm kind of embarrassed we didn't think of it in the United States first. But I've got to give credit where it's due.
It's true, but I think it may, like she was, I am now trying to guess someone's age. I know she's older than me, so I'm just going to assume it was the 50s or the 60s. I was born in 1965 in case anyone feels like I'm calling anything out. So did the Aussies do it before then or about that time, or has that been the new avocado toast? Do you know?
I think they did it first. I don't know when.
Okay. Interesting. I love learning new things.
Me too.
But I think I'm going to be eating some avocado toast after this because now I'm really craving it. And I put, what are the peppers? Let me see if I can, I love these Urfa chilies.
Oh gosh, that is so good on everything.
It's URFA, and they're kind of smoky. You guys who know me know that if it's smoky, I probably like it. It's smoky and almost like a little bit of sweet raisin, maybe even like a little cherry or cherry or chocolate in there.
We're talking about how much we like to smell. Since we can't all be in the kitchen together, I would really urge people to bring your senses to cooking. You know, while it helps when you read something needs to bake 30 minutes. Okay, but how does, after 30 minutes, how does it smell? If you taste it, what does it need? And sometimes you can even hear food. When I was toasting my pumpkin seeds for this, I, of course, started going down an Instagram rabbit hole, and suddenly I heard, and it was the pumpkin seed popping. So yes, food is so sensual, and I want you to bring yourself to that.
I love all of that because I'm team smell as you go. So I was cooking one day and I was staying with my agent, and Virginia Willis was there, and I noticed she was looking at me weird, and I was like, because I was kind of trying not to just smell things because I'm always like, she's a fancy chef and I'm just me. But the thing is I really tell a lot, and I do a lot of spice blends and things like that. But like oats, I make an oat parmesan that literally is toasted oats, some salt, and nutritional yeast, which sounds ridiculous.
No, it's really good. But now I want to like eat a spoonful of it. Wow.
Oh, I wish, because I have so much. I wish I could just like push it through. But when I'm doing it, and I've done a demo on it, is that it's all about smell the oats to begin with. Smell the oats through, and then all of a sudden they start smelling like nuts. But it goes a shade or two, but I think sometimes, like, we've both written cookbooks, and so a lot of times editors have a lot to, like, you have to put in times, and you have to do that, and that makes me crazy because I'm like, it might have cooked in 15 minutes in my 350 oven. Will it cook in yours? Maybe, maybe not. So using your eyes, ears, nose, and tasting things too. I get a lot of information with my nose.
Yeah, I think we all do. I think it's good that you're keyed into that. I think a lot of times, I love to teach about conscious cooking and mindful eating. It really is just about being present. We talk about, being present. Well, you have the opportunity to eat at least once a day. We're very fortunate that way. So here's an opportunity for you to practice mindfulness and eat something wonderful too.
I love that, to think about, because I have a little checklist of my daily to-dos with my water and all these other things, and it's a new one. It was like meditate, and I was like, no.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I always have my water here too. But then last night I sat on the deck and I was just listening to the frogs, and you know what? That's my meditation. But also, I think a lot of times my meditation is developing a recipe, really being hyper aware and pulling that information in, which is so cool. And Angela is joining us from South Beach, and that's great. She's popping in. I guess Chef AJ has a live at 2. Joanne says, I love how pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds sort of pop when you saute them. And she always says this. She says she wants my nose. And I'm like, not with my allergies, you don't. Is it worth it? But Ellen, I just want to thank you so much for stopping in and hanging out with me and my community today. You showed us some amazing tips and tricks and 2 recipes. So, like, yay you. That's a lot to do in an hour, right?
Yay you. It was almost like having you in the kitchen with me. It was very, very fun. And I love your community. What great people.
They are great people. And if anybody's watching, this is new. Obviously, if you're on, you can follow me on YouTube. If you look up Kathy Hester, right now I'm the one you'll find. Though the name is something slightly different. I gotta figure that out. Or go to Vegan Recipes, Cooking with Kathy Hester on Facebook. We've got a little over 8,000 people in the super supportive community wherever you are. So we have vegans and plant-based and everybody all mixed in together. And I will give you that teacher look. If you're not nice to everyone, you have to even say that you're going to be nice. We talk about what helpful is. If you're not sure if it's helpful, it probably isn't. And I think that's a good thing to take with you on your day today. If you think, is that going to be helpful to someone? And you can't say immediately yes. Is how I feel. Ellen may feel a little differently, but I'm just like, you know, what is awesome is to go up to someone and go, oh my God, your shirt is amazing. I love your glasses. Those are always helpful. And, you know, if you're me and you get super exuberant about doing things like that, sometimes people will look at you a little bit weird, but then they always brighten up, right? So I think helping other people is good, but don't forget, we always talk about self-care too. And I always say, if you have just a little bit of an energy, why don't you plan on doing something nice for yourself today? And kind, like be consciously kind to yourself, which is hard for me sometimes. And whatever, if it's drink enough water, take a walk, take a nap, read your favorite book, take a bath, make yourself some love bites. There's all kinds of answers, right?
And I would love to know what does it for your community. You know, what's the me thing that's like, that's what I want.
You know, I usually often want to take a walk, but I think it kind of depends on where people are. Like, one of the things I'm going to go into the group today and talk about a little bit is kind of recommitting to some kind of physical movement, because they can be hard. So usually if I'm struggling with something, I'm super honest about what I'm struggling about. I am not a perfect person. And then we talk about it. And so I often mention things for me, like there was a period of time when I was very anxious and taking a warm bath every night in oils. Like that was magic. You know what else is magic? Starting the dishwasher the night before and waking up first thing, getting the dishes out of your dishwasher. It's like somebody did magic for you. So what about you? Do you have a favorite one to do?
Oh, well, I'm very fickle. And, you know, what works today may not work tomorrow. Walking, I walk the dog frequently, but I was just this week trying to be more present. It's like, you know, watch the green of the trees against the very blue sky. And smell. We have, my neighbor grows gardenias. It's like, oh my God, smell that perfume. And then it's like, pick up the dog, excuse me, pick up the dog poop. You know, be there in the moment. That's part of the deal. So, okay.
And see, we have some woods around, so I have the dog trained to go into the woods where we have piles of leaves whenever possible. And in case a neighbor's watching, if he can't hold it that long and goes in somebody's yard, I have bags and I do pick it up then. But we work as a team sometimes. And Joanne does not want you to forget to put that Miami library class in. She will be showing up and probably telling some other people about it. And so, yeah, and if you tag me, if you've got it on your Facebook, tag me and I'll share it all the places for sure. Kathy's asking both of us, have you ever added something to a dish you're cooking and hated it, then picked it all out? I just did.
I was actually playing with a salad recipe, avocado and grapefruit. I don't really think they go together, but there are at least 2 chefs who love that combination. And I thought, well, you know, they're fantastic and it's good enough for them. It was not good enough for me. So I'm going to revisit it and I'll let you know. Maybe that'll be our second date.
Ooh, that sounds good, because I was, of course, going to say I would love to have you back on if you are willing, and we don't have to talk about that publicly, but you are publicly invited. And Joanne says she loves floating in the pool and watching the clouds float by. That sounds, I even just like sitting out and working on the deck, like just bringing my computer and just being outside some. And I think, it's okay to have different things. What I would love, I'm going to be teachy for a minute, which is if you could make a list of 10 to 15 things right now that are tiny, 5-10 minutes, that you could do that if somebody else did for you would be the most magical thing ever. For me, that's emptying the dishwasher. So like, or putting in oatmeal in your Instant Pot before you go to bed and setting a timer, right? Like little things that you would be like, honey, you didn't. That's so awesome. And so think if you can put some of those things, then even if you don't have the energy to go for a half-hour walk or a 15-minute walk or to put your pants on so you can go outside the house. Let's be real here. And there are things called bras that when it is hot, it is not nice, right? So I can empty my dishwasher no matter what I'm wearing, right? And it's going to be fine. So I think, let's think of those. And like if we could think about that, and if you want to do 10 of those and 5 extra credits. I should have been a teacher, see? Well, thank you for entertaining us and educating us and just bringing and sharing your knowledge with us about all these goodies. It's been such a pleasure having you on the show.
It's been such a pleasure being here. Thank you so much. Happy Cinco de Mayo to you and everyone.
Indeed. And I think that's awesome. You guys, be nice, be kind to yourself, and be kind to one other living being if you have it in you at the end of the day. Okay? Have an amazing time, and I will see you very soon.